meaning. May we begin and may we listen. May we listen deeply this morning and find the spirit of life, the spirit of love awakening in us as we join together in the celebration of life. Our prelude this morning, which we'll see on the screen very soon, is Everything is Beautiful by Ray Stevens, and Ann Brandon will be playing it for us. Please join in the chalice lighting that you will see on the screen. Welcoming all free seekers of truth and meaning, we gather to excite the human spirit, inspire its growth and development, to respond morally and ethically to a troubled world, and to sustain a vital and nurturing religious community. And those at home on Zoom, we encourage you to sing along with the next unison song. The words will appear on the screen, and it is Voice Still and Small, by John Corrado, former minister of our congregation, and our song leaders are Randy Rosette and Chris Jensen.
Hi, this is Elizabeth Baldus, the Acting Director of Religious Education here at Albany UU. For today's service on Deep Listening, I've chosen a story called The Rabbit Listened by Corey Dorfeld that illustrates all the possibilities that we can embrace if we stop to truly listen to one another. Here we go. One day, Taylor decided to build something. Something new, something special, something amazing. Taylor was so proud. But then, out of nowhere, things came crashing down. The chicken was the first to notice. Cluck, cluck, what a shame. I'm so sorry this happened. Let's talk about it. Cluck, cluck. But Taylor didn't feel like talking, so the chicken left. Next came the bear. Arr, arr, how horrible. I bet you feel so angry. Let's shout about it. Arr, arr, arr. But Taylor didn't feel like shouting, so the bear left. The elephant knew just what to do. Trumpada, I can fix this. We just need to remember exactly the way things were. But Taylor didn't feel like remembering, so the elephant also left. One by one they came. The hyena, hee hee, let's laugh about it. The ostrich, Nope. Let's hide and pretend nothing happened. The kangaroo. Tisk, tisk, what a mess. Let's throw it all away. And the snake. Let's go knock down someone else's. But Taylor didn't feel like doing anything with anybody. So eventually, they all left until Taylor was alone. In the quiet, Taylor didn't even notice the rabbit. But it moved closer and closer until Taylor could feel its warm body. Together they sat in silence until Taylor said, "Please stay with me." The rabbit listened. The rabbit listened as Taylor talked. The rabbit listened as Taylor shouted. The rabbit listened as Taylor remembered and laughed. The rabbit listened to Taylor's plans to hide, to throw everything away, to ruin things for someone else. Through it all, the rabbit never left. And when the time was right, the rabbit listened to Taylor's plan to build again. "I can't wait," Taylor said. "It's going to be amazing." And that is the end of our story, and I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did.
We welcome our Facebook friends who've just joined us. And I introduce to you again Philomena Moriarty, who is our guest speaker this morning. And she is a clinical social worker in private practice. And I invite her to come forward to do a reading.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to read to you a poem by Mark Nepo. It's called Way Under the Way. For all that has been written, for all that has been read, we are led to this instant, where one of us will speak and one of us will listen, as if no one has ever placed an oar into this water. It doesn't matter how we come. We may jump to it or be worn to it because of great pain or a sudden raw feeling that this is all very real. It may happen in a parking lot when we break the eggs in the rain, or watching each other in our grief. But here we will come, with very little left in the way. When we meet like this, I may not have the words, so let me say it to you now. Nothing compares to the sensation of being alive in the company of another. Stripped of causes and plans and things to strive for, I have discovered everything I could need or ask for is right here in flawed abundance. We cannot eliminate hunger, but we can feed each other. We cannot eliminate loneliness, but we can hold each other. We cannot eliminate pain, but we can live a life of compassion. Ultimately, we are small living things awakened in the stream, not gods who carve out rivers. Like human fish, we are asked to experience meaning in life that moves through the gills of our hearts. There is nothing to do and nowhere to go. Accepting this, we can do everything and we can go anywhere. Thank you.
Let us turn inward for these words. What does it feel like to be stripped of causes, plans, things to strive for? To lay aside the to-do list, to park the meeting agenda down the block, around the corner, to leave the children to their own imaginations. What anxiety would need to be tolerated to sit with someone who is troubled, without searching for a way to fix the problem, without correcting the errors in their thinking, without blurting out advice or judgments. Let them be fully themselves, just like Taylor. Dimples and warts on full display. Recognize the impossible human dilemma we all struggle with, seeking meaning, enjoyment, and satisfaction between an unplanned birth and an unanticipated death. Then discover what arises spontaneously. Transpersonal love, compassionate care, sympathetic joy. Sense the unimaginable wholeness of it all. Rest in a peace without boundaries. Let us take these words and our own thoughts, reflections, and prayers into a time of silence.
For several years now, I have been part of something called the Global Dyad Meditation Project. It's managed by Simone in Germany. This global meditation involves two people listening to each other, answering questions such as, resting in this moment, what arises? Opening to the heart of the universe, what unfolds? Simply being present, what do you feel in your body? We meet in what we call dyads. During a dyad, we each answer the question for 5 minutes. And we listen to the other without comment, without questions. We sometimes call this holding space. Pure listening. Staying present inside of ourselves when listening. When speaking, sharing what is coming up for us in that moment. I personally try to stay in touch with the physical and emotional sensations in my body in order to stay in the present moment. I have met now in dyads with people living all over the world: Germany, Sweden, the Netherlands, Vietnam, India, San Francisco, Atlanta, Austria, to name a few. Last winter, during the worst of the COVID upsurge, I met with a woman on Zoom living in India. As we both answered the question, resting in this moment, what arises? I listen to her. I am drawn into her internal world. In her world, half a planet away, she is coping with COVID as well. In her lockdown, she and her friends go to the roof of her building and dance. As I sit in my chair in East Greenbush, looking into her eyes, I too am dancing in my mind on a building in India, full myself of the freedom and exhilaration of dancing on that roof. I join with her and her friends. All of us on a major lockdown with a virus nipping at our heels, but nevertheless celebrating our lives in those focused, precious moments together. In Mark Nepo's poem, Way Under the Way, he states, "This instant where one of us will speak and one of us will listen, as if no one has ever placed an oar into this water." She and I experienced together that moment where one of us spoke and another listened and realized the truth of that awareness, the specialness of that moment. Mark brings us this knowledge, the uniqueness of each moment we spend in another's company. When listening becomes an art, we realize how unique each moment is, that to truly be with each other, we must bring the magic of presence, to hear to respond with our whole selves, to hold each other and ourselves in this moment, to be truly with one another. We experience the reality of Mark's words. Nothing compares to the sensation of being alive in the company of another. Presence is one of the keys to listening. When we are present, we realize how unique each one of us truly is. We remember that through the eons of time and space, there has only been one of us and only one of the other. We can remember that through the eons of time and space, there has only been one of us and only one of the other. I'm reminded of the song from my summer of 1970, "Everything is Beautiful in Its Own Way," and especially the line, "Everyone is beautiful in their own way." We shouldn't care about the length of his hair or the color of his skin. Don't worry about what shows from without, but the love that lives within. So how are we to witness the beauty of others and the beauty of ourselves? To celebrate the unrepeatable of all of us, to realize everyone's rare self. One of us will speak and the other one will listen, as if no one has ever placed an oar into that water. So we become present. We open our minds to be curious about the other, to have a strong desire to know and learn about each other. In order to that, we have to overcome our natural tendency to not listen. In fact, to reset our beliefs, such as, we've heard it all before, or there's something more important to listen to at that moment. Let us examine what prevents us from listening. We need a chart. You can see my beautiful artwork here. Present. So, trying to draw a diagram of a human head, and in it we have the brain or / mind. And in all of us, what we have is conditioned responses, responses that have occurred over a lifetime of learning. And that conditioning is full of beliefs and judgments and thoughts, evaluations and interpretations. And it is with that mind that we screen the outside world. So if I believe I've heard it all before, you can imagine how much I am actually taking in from the outside world through my screen. My screen is now a block to actually hearing the other. If I believe that there's something more important for me to do right now, then of course I will screen out the other and not see other people. And this is for all of us. We all come with this mind and with this brain that conditions things. And we all interpret the outside world, so none of us are truly objective, is what I'm saying here. We're all coming at it from our own particular belief system and point of view. And we also interpret even the sensations in our own bodies that way. We look at those sensations and we interpret them through our beliefs and our conditioning. If we believe that feelings are not okay, then we won't feel them. We will block them out. So we're made up this way to begin with. And in Malcolm Gladwell's book, Blink, he informs us about how quickly decisions are made. And while Gladwell celebrates our ability to make quick decisions, in my view, there is a downside. When we make decisions in a blink of an eye, we bring with us a boatload of prejudices, implied biases. Our pattern-conditioned brain decides what is important to focus on. What is important is driven by culture, family life, experience, and is distorted by overgeneralization, jumping to conclusions, minimizing the positive, maximizing the negative, reductionism, etc. It is the foundation of implicit bias in which we automatically formulate what we will hear and what we will respond to. So unfortunately, each interaction comes with our own baggage. We enter our conversations with judgments and conclusions about the others, some of which may be obvious, such as age, race, sex, dress, speech patterns, to name a few. We do not meet each other with the spirit of presence, but with the spirit of absence. So, we need to slow it all down, to not immediately do the next thing, the latest Facebook post or Instagram picture. If we are to meet each other, we must do it with curiosity, to hear the melody in another's voice, to begin to live in the perspective, the experience of another, each bringing a distinctive voice, a distinctive understanding of our and their world. How beautiful might we find each other? I have met with people all over the world through Zoom. With each meeting, I have come to see, know, and listen to people from many cultures. In the intimacy of our presence with each other, we have given each other the gift of ourselves. As Mark Nepo tells us, it can become a spiritual experience. When we meet like this, he says, he may not have the words, but states, nothing compares to the sensation of being alive in the company of another. It is God breathing on the embers of our soul. As we sit with another, first endeavoring to stay in presence, in the present moment, and to then bring an attitude of curiosity, we can really see each other. One day, I received a call from a dear friend. She called to tell me her husband had just died. He'd been in extreme pain, and they had traveled to the emergency room. Believing his pain was a bowel obstruction, they admitted him to the hospital. While my friend went home to get him clothes and toiletries, he died of a heart attack. I responded with shock and grief. What could I do? What arises is our natural tendency to want to avoid pain. Our habits of trying to fix, as we saw in the story with the animals that came to Rabbit, we want to make it better, and this manifests itself in an urge. We want the pain to go away. The art of listening teaches us there is nothing we can do but listen, to bring our presence to another, to make space for whatever is happening for them. All I can do is listen, hear my friends speak, make space for what they need to say. We can also hold on to the other in curiosity, not the curiosity that asks questions, but the one that knows that we don't know what is happening with the other, and be willing to hear whatever, their grief, their shock, whatever they need to share at that moment. And all grief is complicated, and we cannot completely know in others, but we can make space for its expression. Finally, in willingness to hold space, hold presence, to know that we do not know, we hold each other in our hearts. We suspend our judgments, our evaluations, our opinions. We hold each other in a spirit of loving kindness. Finally, we look at the other through those eyes. We embrace the energy of care and love that arises as we experience connection. As Mark Nepo states, we cannot eliminate hunger, but we can feed each other. We cannot eliminate loneliness, but we can hold each other. We cannot eliminate pain, but we can live a life of compassion. We, each of us, hunger for connection. We, each of us, hunger to be seen. We, each of us, hunger to be known and understood. We see with clarity how, like ourselves, these other unique beings who have never existed before in the eons of time, the preciousness of this life, human life before us. In the name of efficiency or distraction, we miss each other. We do not listen, we do not hear. For some of us, COVID has slowed life down. We have learned through its absence the preciousness of being with each other. Let us be with each other now, fully and truly present. As Mark Nepo states, stripped of causes and plans and things to strive for, everything we need is right here in flawed abundance. We are asked to experience the meaning in life that moves through the gills of our heart, to embrace the fullness of what it means to be a human being and not a human doing, to share in the glory of being alive and together on this blue ball we call Earth. Thank you.
An important way we celebrate life each Sunday is by offering an opportunity to practice generosity. Members and friends support our congregation with an annual pledge paid throughout the year. Another way to support the good work of our congregation is by making a generous contribution via one of the options shown on this slide. If you're joining us virtually, you can click on the tiny URL link in the chat window to contribute, or you can send a text to the number shown on the screen. The examples on the slide show how to label your text to indicate the amount and the purpose or intent of your gift. We must now say goodbye to our Facebook friends. Consider joining us on Zoom next time by visiting albanyuu.org. Our offertory is Arabesque. And there we go, Claude Debussy. And Anne Brandon will share it with us.
Hi, I'm Sharon Babila, a member of the Albany UU Conflict Transformation Work Group. We've been meeting since February to explore what's needed to support our community when conflict arises. And conflict will arise. It's part of our human nature and a natural occurrence in all our lives. How do we reframe conflict as a source of change and growth, as opportunity, instead of dread? What happens when we reach impasse? This work takes patience, understanding, empathy, and above all, listening. It is work worth doing. Here is our vision statement so you can hear what grounds us in this endeavor. We believe that by responding to conflict with care and love, we support personal and congregational growth. With a framework for conflict transformation, we will contribute to building beloved community by appreciating our differences, strengthening right relations among groups and individuals, and affirming the democratic approach of decision-making in our congregation. We look forward to sharing resources and support this year as we move through our congregational life together. Thinking about conflict as a transformational process will help us step out of ways in which we sometimes disconnect and step closer toward becoming our vision of beloved community. Thank you.
From Mark Nepo as well, prayer, earth prayer. Let us turn inward for these words. O endless creator, force of life, seat of the unconscious, Dharma, Atman, Ra, Kalb, dear center of our love, Christ light, Yahweh, Allah, Mawu, Mother of the universe. Let us, when swimming with the stream, become the stream. Let us, when moving with the music, become the music. Let us, when rocking the wounded, become the suffering. Let us live deep enough till there is only one direction, and slow enough till there is only the beginning of time, and loud enough in our hearts till there is no need to speak. Let us live for the grace beneath all we want. Let us see it in everything and everyone till we admit to the mystery that when I look deep enough into you, I find me. And when you dare to hear my fear in the recess of your heart, you recognize it as your secret, which you thought no one else knew. Oh, let us embrace that unexpected moment of unity as the atom of God. Let us have the courage to hold each other when we break and worship what unfolds. O nameless spirit that is not done with us, let us love without a net, beyond the fear of death, until the speck of peace we guard so well becomes the world. So be it. Next, we sing a unison song, Lean on Me, by Bill Withers, song leaders Chris Jensen and Randy Rosette. As we extinguish the chalice, please join with what you soon see on the screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And we have a benediction by Philomena.
I just want to mention that on October 2nd, I'm having a workshop called Deep Listening, in which I'm going to share with everyone as much as I can the experience that I've had with the Global Meditation Project, and have everyone get a sampling of what it is like to go through that experience with other people. October 2nd, Saturday. And the information is in the different messages you get from the church. This is a poem also by Mark Nebo called Below Our Strangeness. I've come to believe that we are all broken from the same nameless heart, and everything wakes with a piece of the original heart, aching its way to blossom. This is why we know each other below our strangeness, or when in pain we hold each other, when in sudden joy we dance together. Life is many pieces of that great heart loving itself back together. Let us love ourselves back together. Let us join the pieces of our hearts. Amen.
And our thanks go out to Anne Brandon, Chris Jensen, and Randy Rosette for our music. Our pastoral care associates were Eric Van Housen, and in the room here is Sharon Babala. Ushers, Dawn Dana, Sharon Babala, Chuck Manning, Kathy Harris, and Annika Pfluger. Welcomers, Don Odell and Barb Manning. Greeter, Kathy Hodges. Got a lot of people involved in putting this all on. Office support, Tammy Hathaway and Patience Peschet. Technical support, Jeff Abbas and Dick Dana. And the flowers were donated and arranged, which is actually not what you see on the screen. It is, they were from the memorial service for Susan Thompson and not from Cindy this week. So just to make a correction there. In terms of announcements, on the next slide, we have some of the announcements that are coming up for today. At 11:30, you can join your ministry and operations team for an open house in person as well as virtually. It will be an opportunity for informal discussion and Q&A about the team and specific topics that the MOT is working on. stay on the service link that you're on right now, or in Community Hall. We'll have that at 11:30. Also at 11:30, and this will be virtually on Zoom, the Green Sanctuary will be meeting at 11:30. And fall RE plans are up. Plans for 2021-22 religious education are available. Albany UU is offering in-person Sunday morning RE groups, as well as online Sunday evening family chapel. So we've got family chapel on Sunday evening. That's a little something different instead of in the morning. Check out our website at Albany UU to find out more. And note that everyone must register for in-person RE, and all adults working and volunteering in person with children and youth of any age are required to be vaccinated. I don't have any announcements in front of me. I don't know if there are any in the room or online that on Zoom that need to make an announcement. And I don't see anybody in the room waving at me, so that's good.
Doesn't look like we have any.
Do we have any Zoom hands going up for an announcement?
It looks like in the chat, can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Looks like in the chat, Chuck Manning shares the Green Sanctuary Committee will be meeting on Zoom. To join the meeting, use the link in the chat here.
So there is a link in the chat for that.
There is.
Great.
So if anyone in the room
Green
needs
Sanctuary.
that link, they can get a hold of one of us to get that link.
Okay, great. All right. Well, this is the time that we go to breakout rooms if we're on Zoom, and we can have a chance for virtual coffee hour in a sense. If you want to stay right where you are, we will be available to chat. You can chat a little bit with Philomena. And if you've got some questions or some comments, you can share them with her then. And then at 11:30, we'll be back for the Ministry and Operations team discussion. So thank you all, and you'll see a virtual breakout room showing up on your screen very soon as an option to go to have a chat with someone. Thank you for being here.